So far for October through December 31st, so it's not until the current day, it's just until the end of December, you have reached 1,750 adults and over 4,000 youth. And on the right side, you can see our total reach for 2019. So we're really right on track for reaching about the same number of adults, if not more, and the same with youth. We've reached about a quarter of what we reached throughout the entire year in 2019. So great work there. So far, or as of December 31st, there were 13 PSE sites listed in pairs, and about 1,500 people were estimated as reached in those entries. So you can see in 2019 total, we worked in 30 PSE sites, and that totaled 12 policy changes, 74 systems changes, and 36 environmental changes in different pantries and schools and stores, and we reached about 42,000 people. There's many more PSE sites that have been entered since December 31st, but again, we're just focusing on the first quarter here. So I'd say we're probably also right on track for our PSE reach being similar to last year, if not even higher. And I included at the end, last week, Heidi and I were at Extension Annual Conference, and we sent home copies of our 2019 annual reports with all of the supervisors that we connected with at the end of conference. But at the end of this session, there's also a link to our annual report, so you can see all of the work that was done last year. Program areas. So this is a map that I pulled from pairs for the program activity. So this is just referring to direct education between October and December 31st. So the green on the map is the darker the green in the county, the more program activities or direct education series that were entered. So the lighter green have fewer program activities, and the darker green have more. As far as PSE and those 13 sites, we had people using Create Healthy Pantries as an intervention, so either doing thumbs up or food drives or a combination of those, as well as several schools doing Create Healthy Schools, so specifically Smarter Lunchroom. I think we're gonna at least double our Smarter Lunchroom sites this year, which is really exciting. We have some new ambassadors working with Smarter Lunchrooms in Salt Lake County and Beaver County and a couple of other counties throughout the state. So that's really exciting to see. And as of December, 74 partnerships were reported, which is amazing because last year at the end of the fiscal year, there were only 75 partnerships reported. I ended up going through and adding additional partnerships as I went through and saw all of the schools that were being worked with that weren't reported as partners. So we're way ahead of the curve there. So great job on getting those partnerships entered. I did do a entering partnerships training for pairs a couple of weeks ago and sent that out. So if you have questions about that, you can check out that training on our YouTube training channel, or you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to walk you through it. So county programming, I wanted to break it down by what was happening in each of the counties in the first quarter. And it's important to recognize we can't just compare apples to apples because different counties have different numbers of ambassadors. They have different seniority of ambassadors. So some of these ambassadors may be really new, where some may be more established and working, not needing to establish those relationships, which can take a lot of time. We also recognize that some are in rural counties, so finding opportunities is a little bit more challenging and more time goes into that recruiting part versus the actual programming part versus urban counties, which have a lot of different options available to them. So it's important not to just compare your county directly to the counties around you, but I think we can learn a bit about where our program should be from this. So I do encourage supervisors and ambassadors to take a look at this and see where you kind of stand as far as how many program activities, indirect activities, and PSE sites you're working with in comparison to those around the state. I think some of you will find that you're doing fantastic and others may see some room for improvement. So do take a look at this. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. And another thing to consider is this is just as good as the reporting. So if there were things that happened that weren't reported, that could also be where you may not be listed as highly as you were hoping to. And this is just alphabetical order. I didn't rank this in any specific order. But I think it could be interesting and eye-opening for some supervisors and ambassadors. So we'll share this presentation with everybody. Okay, so on to impact. So I did want to look at how our curriculum's doing as far as the behavior changes our participants are reporting from before the series until after the series. So this is just group level means. So this isn't pre and post data matched for participants. This is just looking at all of the people that did the pre-surveys. The mean is orange, and then all of the people that did the post. So we do want to see an increase in the post impacts for everything except for the second question here. How many times per day do you drink regular soda? That's when we would want to see the reverse. We'd want to see that people were drinking more before taking our classes, and then hopefully consuming less after they've received the education from our classes. So you can see here they're all going in the right direction except for that one. I didn't take the time to see if they were statistically significant, but just knowing how our data usually runs, I would say we are having significant impacts on all of these behaviors except the drinking soda. And that's something, what we'll use these impacts for, and those from last year, is we look at them and see what behaviors we're not having the best impacts at, and then we can do additional training of our ambassadors or bulk up our curriculum content to help people make those behavior changes. And then of course, this correlates, the numbers correlate to the Likert scale that are on the survey. So never, seldom, sometimes, usually, always. So we'd like to see people up in that usually, always category, but any movement along that scale is what we're going for. So great work. And then I pulled these numbers from the post surveys. There is a question about how people rate the content of the class and the instructors, and you can see people are really satisfied with both the content and the instructors after they've taken a series, so after they've been through several classes with you. And the scale here, so 4.47 and 4.33 would fall between very good and exceptional, so awesome work. We do have people doing the Create Better Health one-time class. So these questions are intent to change. So you can see 88% intend to usually always stretch their food dollars to less than a month after participating in one of these one-time classes. 91% intend to usually always adjust foods to use what is already at home, which is kind of the core of the Create concepts. 72% intend to be physically active. And then 85% intend to choose a variety of foods based on My Plate's recommendations. And you can see that's the biggest increase, is people who were using My Plate before coming to our classes was only about 35%. And then after just a one-time class, 85% intend to use it. That's one of the behaviors we see the greatest increase of. So I think it's just really raising awareness of those My Plate recommendations, that they're out there and people can use them. So that's kind of exciting to see that even just after a one-time class, people are intending to change their behavior. Whether or not they do is another story, but we do at least want to see that intent to change. Create family meals. So we're seeing some similar impacts here. Some of them are not as drastic of an increase after participating in a series. Specifically, people eating meals together at least 3 times per week. We're seeing a little bit of an increase, in the same with prepare meals at home. I think some of that could be attributed to people who may attend some of these classes may already be doing some of these things. So they're interested in family mealtime and already doing it, so there's less room for improvement. But you can see as far as eating vegetables, eating fruit, choosing foods based on My Plates, there's really significant improvements happening pre and post intervention. Okay, Create My Plate youth curriculum. So this is just an online survey, so we ask you to send home those letters. So if you remember from the beginning, we've reached over 4,000 youth, and we've only had 36 parents respond. So this is something that we're looking to improve for next year, because you can see that the improvements are really good, but we just would love to get more parents to complete the surveys, and I have a little bit more about that on the next slide. But as far as impacts, The first column is the food group that we're referring to. The middle column is increases in knowledge. So parents can select, they've seen some difference in the knowledge of their students in these food groups, or significant difference, and I just combine those for some increase in knowledge. So significant improvements in knowledge and smaller increases in the intake of those food groups from their youth, but that makes sense. We would expect to see smaller increases in the intake, although we're still seeing some. And I know I'm going through this fast, but it's just in the sake of time, but we'll share this with you. And then we saw the same thing for the food, fun, and reading. We've reached a couple thousand kids with this curriculum, and we only had 21 parents respond to the survey. So one of the changes we had made for this year is we do have the paper surveys available. So if you're teaching in a library or somewhere where parents are usually present during that last class, if you could go ahead and print out the paper survey and have them fill it out right there, I think we'd have a lot better response rate. If you go that route, it does create an extra step for you as an ambassador. You would have to enter them into pairs, but they're a really brief survey. But at the end of the first quarter, we only had one program activity actually attach the paper surveys. So if you could, I ask that you do use those paper surveys just to increase the responses, so we know if these curricula are having the impact that we're hoping they are, or if we need to improve them somehow. So I did want to just open it up to you. Do you have any ideas on how we could increase parent completion rate? I don't know if Kaylee from Beaver is on the call, but for the Create My Plate, well over half of those that completed the survey were from her elementary school. So if she was on and could just explain how she does it, that would be great, because she's clearly having the most success in the state with this.
I am on, Casey.
Oh, great.
I don't feel like I'm doing anything really special. A lot of the teachers have the kids make sure that they do it. Like, sometimes I have those teachers that will have the kids, like, give them incentives to do the surveys. That's nothing coming from me. I don't know, try and send them home. I don't know. I'm glad to hear that we got some back from all the surveys I sent out. Yeah,
Belknap is like most of the surveys. And then there's the second one is Cedar City. So there's, 30 from Belknap and then 6 from Cedar City.
One thing that always helped my kids remember to take something back to the teacher was some sort of incentive. They were going to get a piece of gum, or they were going to get a piece of candy if they brought it back, or so they were more motivated to make sure that I got the paper and put it back in their backpack, because it's just, the kids put it in their backpacks if they get it to the backpack, and it's lost in space.
Yeah, and the tricky thing is they just go home with like the QR code or the link to the survey, and then the parents they don't bring anything back to the school. The parents fill out the survey online, and then we send a beach ball and some games that they could play. But because there was something with IRB that they didn't like the kids bringing something back to show that their parents did.
What about
the letter says they get a small gift for completing the survey. Is that in the mail?
Yeah, we send it out. So if they go on, then they can add their contact info, and Amelia sends out, it's a beach ball and a list of games they can play.
I wonder if the ambassadors really played that part up to try and get the kids excited to take it out of their backpack.
Yeah.
If that would help.
I was thinking the same.
A ball with them. This is what you can.
Yeah, maybe the teachers could have what it is that they would get.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
This is Mariana from Millard, and I know when we did jump ropes, and I personally gave those out, I got more forms back than if they have to just get online and do it.
Yeah. So they used to bring the surveys back to you, is that?
I'm thinking that's what we used to do, because they came back, then they got the jump rope.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring the ideas to Heidi and IRB and see, because I agree, if the kids we're incentivized by getting something that like other classmates are getting, we'd probably see a lot higher response rate.
But I still feel like, I mean, anybody on here that's worked in PTA knows that when you send stuff home, like only 20% of people respond. But I still feel like we should be getting that 20% out of 4,000. We're not getting that. So there's something, perhaps we need to revisit for next year, the letter. Maybe there's something that's not, I can't read it very well, but I'm wondering if it doesn't invite them enough.
Yeah.
Maybe something in the take home letter can say it will take 30 seconds if you'll just do this with this QR code or something. I'm just thinking that when I would go through my kids' backpack, there's a certain percent just by the nature of humanity of adults, men or women, that are going to follow through on that. And we should at least be hitting that.
Yeah, we're well below 5%, annually.
There's something in our letter or our.
And I think one of the barriers probably is like people they can't just click on these things. They're not getting these letters electronically. Like they would have to take this and scan the QR code or go and type in the URL. So it's like an extra step that I think if somehow we could send these out electronically, maybe people would be more likely to just click.
I don't know, electronically you usually, okay, I thought that electronically you have a lower return rate than if you send it out physically. I seem to remember that from my stuff when I was doing my math, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Casey?
Yeah.
Is there a way to send it out electronically? Because for the parents just to send a link, because I know in our schools, the teachers all have like ways that they push things out to the parents. So that could be an option if.
Yeah, I would say if teachers would be willing to send it out, because I think that's the only way we'd have access to the email addresses, so they could cut and paste the letter or attach the letter, or maybe we can make like an electronic version of the letter that's easy for them to share.
Yeah, just coming from the teachers though, I know that they do that a lot in our schools, is they send things out to the parents that way.
That's a great idea.
So I had a thought as well. I was thinking about, since our county doesn't have a lot of followers on our Facebook page, I was thinking about making some kind of a little card that I could staple to, let's just say, for example, the new Kids Create curriculum. We send home recipes every week. So the first thing I thought about was stapling a little paper on there that says, you know, follow us on Facebook, create Better Health Box Elder County. Well, if you were to put that on the survey, for example, at the very end, maybe it's a colorful piece of paper. And if they are intrigued enough to go online and follow us on Facebook, then maybe they're intrigued enough to go ahead and do that survey while they're online as well.
Good ideas. They're all really good ideas. I'm willing to try anything that we can get through, IRB, of course.
Casey, I think along with Becky, with what she's saying, maybe invite them to follow Kid Create and link them to more information. I really like Kaylee's idea of sending it home to the parents. I know I get an email from my elementary students from the teacher letting us know what's happening during the week. So maybe if we're in a classroom, the teacher could send that out with her weekly email. But then also inviting them to follow our social media that's applicable to a child's age as well, in addition to our adult, but getting it in their hands.
Yeah. Okay. Those are all great things. I see a couple in chat too. One says people won't click on links from people they don't know. And I agree. So I think if it can come from the teachers, that would be ideal. Someone else wrote, parent surveys used to go home during second to last lesson, and then we collected them during the last lesson. Yeah, there was something that came up with IRB with the kids bringing them back. So I'll have to look into that.
I feel like it was shaming the kids who had parents that didn't reply. It was punishing the wrong person. If a child goes home and says, will you fill this out? And if their parents don't do it, the child was being shamed in the classroom. And
that
I think
makes sense.
They don't have control over adult behaviors, and that IRB felt that that was inconsiderate of a child.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we'll look into some links either through Facebook or as well as figuring out a way to get an easy copy of the survey or the link to the teachers. So if they were willing to send it out, we could do that. And then, yeah, on the recipes as well. So if you think, as you're kind of thinking through it, or if you're talking with the teachers that you are working with, if they have any ideas, we'd love to hear them. So as you all know, these things change kind of slowly. So we will definitely be working on this. So I appreciate all of your feedback. And then another thing that just came up a few weeks ago is Becky in Box Elder asked about like a formal form to get feedback from the teachers, because she feels like she goes in and she teaches these lessons and then she never really gets feedback from the teachers on what can be improved and what went really well. So that's something we are working on. So if you have ideas on ways to ask teachers or things to ask teachers, feel free to email me those and we'll take them into consideration for this next year. So I guess just a plug to continue to send these letters home and or do the food, fun, and reading paper surveys for youth evaluation, because we are seeing really good impacts, but we would love some more so that they could be generalizable and we know what's working with our curriculum and what isn't working as well. Okay, Jocelyn, do you want to talk about the social media reach?
Sure. So this is an impacts, but it's just a quick view of what's been happening in just 3 short months by the social media team. I'm just going to go through the little chart here. The blogs, they post weekly, and so there have been 13 messages or posts, which is essentially a lesson. And between the 2 blogs, we have the Create Better Health blog and the Kids Create blog, and they've had over 6,383 views. You'll see that we've had numerous messages and impressions. This is just the statewide ones. These are our Create Better Health and Kids Create statewide messages, and presumably these have been pushed out through the individual county pages, but those individual county reaches aren't included here. Mostly I want this snapshot just to show you guys how much work is being done on the back end, and that we're hoping you're sharing and utilizing these things. So we've got the Facebook, the posts that have gone out, all the messages that have gone out in those 3 months, and then how much reach we've had is on the right-hand side. You can see on the Kids Create blog, 26 messages. That's even more. That's a mess. There's usually a lesson and then a recipe each month. And the Facebook page pushes out those posts that were from the blog, as well as messaging that's going on. Captain Create, this is our first year with him, and he's got 4 videos up there. He released another one on Friday, so now we're up to 5, and it's promoting breakfast. But what I'd really love for you to do is check out the Captain Create YouTube channel, and if there's anything that you can use when you're teaching in schools or classes, or if you have children that are attending, those videos can be played on a loop, on any screen that you might have in any places you're teaching. Anyway, these are, I say this, I know I'm a broken record, but everything we're doing on social media, especially videos and things, are meant to educate our population, but also to be a resource for you when you're teaching. So these things are there for you to use. And yeah, I'm looking at the newsletter line now, the Create Better Health County newsletter. That's the IGP newsletter. Candy sends out to your county an email with the newsletter and the messaging that goes to the people from the IGP list in your county, and then a second one that goes to the people in your county that are the individual signups, and then a third one that goes out to people in your county who are maybe political or agencies that are a part of your network that should be hearing about these. So each county gets 3 emails to 3 different groups, and the open rate hovers around 9 to 12%. Facebook, they've had 27 posts that you guys have been great spreading out. LinkedIn is kind of a separate, the StepEd Works and the LinkedIn are both sort of a different target audience, but we're still running those for you, which might give you gravitas. If you're meeting with agencies, you can have them follow you on LinkedIn if you're connected to our Create Better Health program, or at the very least, put in our Snap It Works plug there. I don't know. I see there's a question that popped up on chat. Yeah, absolutely. Kathy says, would it be appropriate to have Captain create videos at food banks in their waiting rooms? That'd be marvelous. And we also have a Create Better Health channel that's just got videos and recipes that can also be added. They're not as fun and engaging as Captain Create, but that's definitely something you can do. Any other questions? Oh, okay, so social media success stories. You've probably been seeing the Freebie Friday question. And Candy asks each week something that promotes Snap It concepts and behaviors. And clear back at Christmas time, she said how you'll be physically active this week. And these are some of the responses people give. I don't know that this is worth everybody reading through. I was a little bit ambitious, but do you want to go to, you can read through those. They're great. They might be good ideas to tell people what they can do, but y'all get that. But anyway, this is our attempt at getting success stories over social media. That's our attempt to provide that element of programming. So, but on social media, I will say a lot of these people are following because they've been to your classes, and their answers to the responses are a direct result of education you're giving them. So that's good.
Sorry, I included them all.
Yeah, that's.
But we'll share them out here.
Not
so
sure what all you needed. Yeah. So yeah.
Great.
Anyway.
Okay.
Thanks.
Jacqueline. So yeah, again, we just wanted to give you an overview of what we're seeing here at the state. Overall, the entries look great. So people are entering things timely. You're doing a great job adding program activities as a series, not necessarily, each class has its own program activity. So huge improvements there. There do seem to be a few ambassadors who are still struggling with that. So we may reach out to you, or if you're struggling with not adding every single class as its own program activity, there is a pairs training, or you can contact me and I'm happy to walk you through that. One area that I'm seeing could be improved a little bit is when you are taking your surveys and you have the initials of your participants and the birth month and date, if you can be consistent on how you're entering those, so whether it's the initials are always capital letters or always not capital, or with the birthday, if it's January, either enter 1 or 01. However you want to do it, if you're just consistent with it, that would be really helpful, because what we're doing with that is pairs is then matching the pre and the post surveys automatically in the system. So we're able to see individual level behavior change. But if, for example, you have capital D, 124, and then lowercase d, 0124, even though they're the same person, pairs is not going to be able to match those. So when you're in there and entering those we're calling them our identifying variables, just as long as you're consistent, that would be really helpful. Also, just a reminder to distribute the pre-surveys during classes 1 and 2 in a series. That's something that's different this year. We used to just do it in the first class, but we want to give it to, if there's new people in class number 2, so that we can capture a pre and post from them as well. So if you have questions about that, reach out to me. We still have very few matched pairs. Only about 10% of our survey respondents are matched. I realize some people teach a series over 6 months, one class a month for 6 months. So there's still some program activities that are open. And I know there's lots of other barriers to getting people to fill out a pre and a post, but just be mindful and do those as best you can. We'd love to see a little bit higher percentage of people having a pre and a post, because that's really where we can see the individual level impacts. Continue to enter partnerships. Like I said, we are well above where we were this time last year. So any program area, so direct ed classes, food pantries, Department of Workforce Services, anywhere where you're partnering with another organization, take a few minutes and fill out that partnership module. It's really pretty quick, especially once you've watched the training and get used to how to answer. Level of cooperation is probably the question that takes the longest time to figure out in there. And then success stories, 1 per month per ambassador. So that's something we're really hoping to see. It's not that we want to necessarily just see 12 at the end of the year. We want them to be coming in real time, so that if we're requested to give information to our funders, we have things from that quarter to share. So just thank you for all of your work this year. And then, like I said earlier, if you go onto our staff website under the, is it reports tab? I can't remember specifically, or you can click on this link that'll be in the notes today. You can see our annual report from last year and all the amazing work that you did. So please feel free to check that out. Also, supervisors, a lot of supervisors got a hard copy. If you'd like a hard copy, just send us an email and we'd be happy to send one your way. Okay, that went a little longer than I expected, so thank you. We're gonna go into the rest of the agenda, so I just have to pull it up here. And we'll go to Lacey. I'll share it here in just a minute.
Yeah, hello everyone. I just had 3 things I wanted to share, and they'll be fairly brief. First, with PSE, this was more just a general reminder. I'll probably be doing that more as we move into the future, just to help emphasize the importance of the work that you're doing in PSE. And I'm very happy to see that you're going beyond what's been done in the past, which is fantastic. Just want to encourage everyone to kind of keep in mind the reason we have PSE is to make it, you know, more possible, or make it available to our target population, that they can make the changes they're learning in classes. You know, we can see really neat things that happen in class. I think, especially with children, you can see like, oh, they tried this new fruit or vegetable, but if that's the only time they ever get to have it, it's not going to really have a lasting impact compared to they tried this new fruit or vegetable, and because of this awesome effort we're doing with policy system and environment change, they'll have another chance to try and eat that vegetable in the future. So just sending it out there to keep that in your mind of how to help make it possible for your participants to do the things they're learning in class. That's just what we're doing, is trying to enable that. And I'm really pleased and impressed with all the great work that you're doing. So I realize it's March and I've been doing some planning, and farmers markets are coming up soon, community gardens. And so I just want to send a sort of request out to the Void, well, not the Void, to all of you, to the team, to request that you let me know if your offices or your counties intend to be at a farmers market this summer. Also, if you have intentions of community garden work. And I wanted to discuss, we might have some advice and some guidance here from the state office as far as farmers market booths go, as to what may be the best use of your time and resources at those booths. One thing that I want to bring to your attention as well, something that was really impactful here in Cache County last year, we piloted a Buy Produce for Your Neighbor program where people were able to donate produce that they bought at the farmer's market, and vendors also donated produce that they didn't want to take back to their farm. And we got a really great response with that. Right now it's also being, it's available in Iron County too. And so that's something that we'd really like to see a lot of booths have this program at them. And so you're doing education, but you're also making it possible to expand the reach of local produce to those who are most in need. And then the last one I have here is a success story highlight. I just brought this up because I was peeking at success stories for my stakeholder work, and it was just exciting, so I thought I'd share it. And this is from Millard County, and it has a really great quote. So we talked about, you know, how quotes can be really impactful with their stakeholders. And this person who had been attending Create Better Health, a series at a public housing complex, responded to a question in class. So the show's way to ask questions and use those prompts in your classroom to get great information. She said that she had gone to a doctor checkup, and that her A1C levels had dropped from 7.1 to 6.1, and that she attributed that to attending the Create Better Health classes because she was learning to eat healthier and make changes. And so she came back and told, you know, Mariana, my doctor told me to come back and thank you because you are teaching me to eat healthy. My AC1 levels dropped and from 7.1 to 6.1. And so that's just a very clear, really a dramatic change that she noticed. And now we can tell people who would like to fund us, like, here, look, these are the sort of impacts that your work is having in the lives of the people that they represent in their districts. So just thank you so much for working on that and sharing these stories with us, asking the questions in your classes and writing them down, because they can really make a big difference for our program. And does that just make you feel great about what we're doing too? I feel like just even for us as educators, as a program, we can get kind of pumped up seeing these wonderful results from your efforts.
Great, thank you, Lacey. That's an awesome story. Jocelyn.
Okay, I just have 3 points of reminder. One is please remember to report your county Facebook data in pairs by the 5th of each month. Then when we do county reviews, I'll have your previous month's information in there for sure. And also just want to remind you that the new information coming out from the gods of social media is that just reposting and sharing isn't enough. If you'll comment and then share, then it gets more views and more online audience. So if you can, even just something so simple as this is a great idea, or we tried this and it works, or something, comments are, there's so much going on right now that, or always, that having comments on there gives it more oomph than just a share. So if you'll throw on a comment, you'll see I'm doing really simple short ones, but just trying to get that to flow through people's feed. And then finally, every month I say it, just remember to keep your Google Calendar up to date. Candy's going to send out the Create Better Health County newsletter in about 5 or 6 days. And if you have live classes, this is such a great opportunity to have those listed on there. So if your Google Calendar is up to date with all the information we need, then the email that goes to your county will say, there's going to be a class at the library or at the DWS office or Department of Health, anywhere, wherever you have classes, they'll be advertised on that email, and that goes out to a ton of people. So just please remember to put your classes in that Google Calendar. And that also goes to the state agency, Paul Burke-Beckett, Department of Workforce Services, and they need to see it too. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jocelyn. And if you have any questions, either just unmute yourself or throw them in chat. Christy.
Sorry, I was still muted. I just wanted to let everybody know it's breakfast week, and our partnership with UBET is going to be unrolling a lot of social media and promotion for breakfast week in the schools. Utah was the recipient of the No Kid Hungry grant, and they are piloting alternative breakfast styles in some of the schools that we're working with. So they're working with schools that are a higher free and reduced lunch rate, and the schools that they're right now, Weber is actively piloting the program. I know that there has been communication with Tooele and also schools in Carbon to get them to pilot these alternative breakfast styles, but just to let you guys know that they are working on this in the schools that you are in, working as well. And if we can, as SNAP-Ed, help support the efforts to get kids fed in the schools and support the UBET partnership, share that. You'll start seeing that come through on your social media feeds today or throughout this week. I think they'll be posted every day this week. So, and along with Hiram's breakfast video. So just watch for that this coming week.
Thank you. Marcia.
All right. Just a couple things. Number one, I wanted to remind you to enter in your employee wellness surveys. If you did those, make sure you enter in your points so you get points into the drawing. Number two, we have a lot of new NEA, so I just wanted to, or ambassadors, I just wanted to remind you to put your name in chat. That's how we take roll, and so we need your name in there so we can make sure you're here. And that's it.
Great. All right, we're going to move into our reviews, county and social media reviews. So we'll start with Hiram and Captain Create.
Would it be okay to just take or go after Ashley?
Sure.
Can I do that? Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep, Ashley.
She's not on this morning. I'll just make a plug for what Ashley's doing. Ashley oversees the Utah SNAP-Ed Works. For those of you who need a reminder, that is an outlet that we have where we share our successes, our impacts, how we use our funding, who our target audience is, and we share that information with political people, with agencies of similar purpose, with anybody that might be wondering what SNAP-Ed is and what they do and if maybe they would be a good partner. And she's going to be sending out a campaign. We did this a few months ago, like 6 months ago maybe, but it's for you as ambassadors and you as supervisors to share with agencies. It'll be an email. So if there's someone that you work with regularly, say at the schools, or somebody that helps with food insecurity in your community, or someone that helps coordinate pantries and getting food to places, they're the ones that we want to be connected to us through this SNAP-Ed Works. It's just to increase awareness of who we are, what we do, and who we can work with, and give us better PSE opportunities and better collaborative opportunities with other agencies in our communities. And so you're going to get an email. I think it'll come from Heidi. She's the one behind this. And it's going to say, please share this with people that you work with. And it's an email that you send out, and it'll invite them to follow us at Utah SNAP-Ed Works. And so it's a totally different audience, it's a totally different message, but it's also important because we want to make sure that people of power and people with similar goals can work with us and know who to reach out to and what we do and who we are. So there's no question about what Create Better Health Utah SNAP-Ed is. So when you get that email from Heidi, if you'll take it seriously, it'll just tell you to forward. It's going to have a follow us page and a QR code, so you can send that out to any agencies and partners that you would like to, or have worked with in the past. If you have any questions about it, when that email comes, you can either address Heidi or email me, but that's something that's going to be coming down the line pretty soon.
Great, thank you. Hiram, are you ready, or do you want to go after Kate?
I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right? Okay, so the first Wednesday in April is National Walking Day, as established by the American Heart Association, and I would like to make a video to highlight that. And most of my physical activity videos, I do like how to practice proper technique while doing it, but I don't feel like a how to walk appropriately is a is a very engaging video. So I'm asking ambassadors to send me pictures, video clips, or pictures or video clips with quote, like walking is fun, or I enjoy walking because it helps me de-stress from the day, or walking is my, I don't know, whatever you want to say about walking. And it would just really help to enhance that video versus me just, walking around with a cape on or whatever. So I am hoping to get footage or pictures by this, I think it's this Friday, the 7th. So it will give me time to make the video and post it toward the end of the month. I'll send another reminder on Facebook. If you have questions about how to get video or pictures to me, send me an email.
Awesome, thanks Hiram. All right, we're gonna move on to Kate. Unfortunately, we have only 15 minutes left, and I know this is like people's favorite part of these meetings is hearing from the county, so I really apologize about my poor time management. But I'm gonna ask counties to kind of keep it to about a 1-minute update. But if you have more you would like to share in the scoop, please send us an email. We'll be sure to include everything. So again, I apologize, but we'll have to keep it to about 1 minute per county because we do have a lot that we want to hear from today. So we'll go on to Kate with Kids Create.
She might be in class. We'll make sure that the image of what's coming up as a schedule is on the scoop. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, that bumped it up to 1 minute and 10 seconds each. Let's go to Beaver County.
Okay, so for Beaver County, just one thing that we have that's new is that we were invited to go into the high school after school programs, which they recently started this last couple months. And so we're excited to get to do that.
Great, I think that's often a hard group to reach. So good job, Kaylee, thank you. How about Box Elder?
There we go. Okay, so let's see. Michelle and I have a few monthly classes that are still ongoing. We have a few of those left. She is still doing food, fun, and reading at this Centro de la Familia. And let's see, we just opened up a brand new school in Tremonton, McKinley Elementary. So I'm finishing up food, fun, and reading there. Just started 3rd grade Kids Create, and then we'll be able to start a 2nd grade Kids Create after spring break. And then we got communication from a senior center here in Brigham City. And so we'll be reaching out to them today to see when they'd like to start some adult classes there. Lots going on.
It definitely sounds like you're busy. Nice work. We'll move on to Cache County.
Okay, so sorry for my voice. Well, we've been planning the health fair that we're gonna have in April. So we're working on the Hispanic Health with the Hispanic Health Coalition, and we're getting excited to have for the April 20th. We've been teaching after school programs right now, and we're gonna do also. We're gonna start working with the other members from the extension office at CAPS. We're gonna create there a garden, a community garden, and also at the Bridger Elementary, and also we're working with Centro de la Familia, hoping we can just do the community garden there as well. So we continue teaching our regular classes at the family place at Bridger Elementary after schools. And I think pretty much we keep doing, but that's the new stuff that we've been working on.
Awesome, thanks Paola. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you. It's just the voice.
Yeah.
I don't feel sick. It's just, I think I don't know.
Well, rest it. That's the best thing I've learned from my experience since October.
Yeah, so thank you.
All right, Heather from Carbon is going to type in her update, so we'll wait for that to come through, but we'll go to Davis.
Okay, Davis County, we have a really busy month. Kendall's back from maternity leave, and Rachel, this is her last month before maternity leave, so we are packing it all in. We have a lot of Head Start classes we're teaching at, we just finished up an after school program at one of the elementary schools. And then we are currently in the middle of working with a young parenting program, which is really exciting. It's a high school here. So it's like teenage girls who are either pregnant or have been pregnant. We've been wanting to work with them. This is our first series with them. And we also have been working to get in with Circles and Open Doors. We talked to Marcia about this a while ago when she came to observe one of our classes that she used to teach there. And we've had a hard time getting back in. So we're currently teaching to their adults and their youth. It's only a 2-class series, but we're hoping that then, well, it was set up as a single class twice, but there was miscommunication. So we're hoping that'll get our foot in the door, that we can teach regular series. They're an intergenerational poverty focused program to help those families. And then we're also working with a lot more pantries, or working to get into a lot more pantries. We've got some new pantries opening up and some pantries that we just haven't worked with in the past. And so Kendall, along with our help, we're gonna hopefully get into some more pantries and do some more PSE work in the coming months, I guess. So that's what we've got.
Awesome, great job, Davis County. And I think that's a great point when if you can only get a 1-class setup or a 2-class series, to use it as recruitment for a full series. I think you kind of hook people with those and then use them as a springboard for something else. So great work. We'll go on to Duchesne. Is anyone from Duchesne on? I don't see anyone, but we'll come back if they hop on. Emory, Barbara.
We've just done a lot of work with an elementary school here in town. They've had a kindness month and talked about being kind to others. Last week we had a kindness fair, and my portion was be kind to yourself. So we read Dr. Seuss's book, The Things You Can Do That Are Good for You, and we had a lot of physical activity and vegetable snacks. It was really fun. One of the little boys said, "Oh, I didn't know you were supposed to be nice to yourself." So that was pretty fun.
Cute, that's great. I think that's an important message to remind people. Okay, how about Iron County, Lauren?
Sorry. We're pretty much doing a lot of the same things. I'm in the schools a lot. I also started Buy Produce for Your Neighbor here because we have a year-round market. And we've had some success, but I think we'll have more success with it in the summer when there's more produce availability. And then I'll also be starting up another series with the special needs adults soon. So.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Juab, is Laurie on? I think she's often not on these calls, but Laurie and Juab? Nope, okay. How about King County?
All right, so we're just finishing up for our coalition. We did another free healthy living challenge. So we do like a weekly newsletter with like a recipe, an article, and then an exercise of the week. And it's been great for me to do an adult series. So I'll finish that up tomorrow, and I've had a good turnout for those classes. I'm finishing up working at the elementaries, and I've started doing the Smarter Lunch for Movement at Kanab Elementary, and I'm hoping to get into our other elementary in our county before the end of the year. We're gearing up for summer scheduling and marketing, and kind of busy with PSE. I'll start doing more work at the food pantry in the summer when I have more time free up, and then the Smarter Lunchrooms at both elementary schools. And then I actually had a grocery store reach out to me, and they want to implement some of the Create Better Health material over there. So I think we'll work towards doing like a healthy checkout line, and then just continue work from there. She's really excited about this curriculum and information, so hopefully we'll get more stuff going on there. So busy as always.
I'd say, and just for those of you who are single ambassadors in a rural county, Brittany is a great example. There's many great examples, but Brittany is one great example of someone who's the only ambassador in a rural county and does every program area, PSE, coalition work, social media, direct education. So she'd be a great resource for you to reach out to if you're struggling kind of getting your footing in those rural counties. So you know they can be challenging for some different reasons. I'm going to read Heather from Carbon's update. So they have a food, fun, and reading starting in some of the local daycares as well as Head Start. Along with that curriculum, we have several locations where she's teaching the hand washing with back and superheroes. There's been a huge request for this information with the recent coronavirus. Yep, I think that is very true. Farm field days this month, then many different class options are available in Extension Classroom, including family mealtime, after school programs, and she's recently had to split her create better health commodities class into a second class because of the amount of participants that we have now. That's just a few things, and they have so much more starting up. So Heather's another great example of a single ambassador really doing a lot of work in Carbon County. So great job, everyone. Let's see, Millard, Mariana.
Yeah, we just had a kind of a, with the parent-teacher conferences last week at the middle school in Fillmore. We did just a booth, an indirect, and I don't know if you can see these, but they turned out really cute with our little water bottle that says, "Be your own superhero, create a healthy life." And we gave those out to those who would participate in a Be Fit activity. That was last Thursday. I'm getting ready for my PSA with our food bank down here, and we are putting all of our food cards together and stapling them to donation envelopes with rubber bands so they can be attached to doors, and get those out to our LDS church, who's going to distribute those and pick up the food. And that will be going on this month. I'll be finishing up my 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade at Delta North in March. Just still busy in the schools. I'll be starting with 2nd grade and at Delta South, I guess in April and May, but just trying to finishing up other classes and just continuing on.
Great work, Mariana. I'm gonna be a broken record. I'm just realizing all of the great work that's going on. It's not new, obviously, but another great example. Good job, Mariana. Okay, and our last one is Paiute, if Keisha's on.
Okay, I don't have a video, sorry. I'm at the school right now, but we have a lot going on. One of the newest things we're getting right now is we're gonna partner with our health department here in Paiute County and do a fun thing for the National Take a Walk Day on April 1st. And then we're just going with our other classes we've had. We've started a Cooking with Chris class at the Extension office. We teach a lesson and then Chris gives them a cooking lesson. Together we work on that. So that's about all we have going. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna circle back and make sure no one from Duchesne popped on. Okay, and like I mentioned, if you have more you wanted to share, just send us an email and we'll include it in the scoop. But really great work happening everywhere. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, let us know. And before you hop off, just be sure to put your name in the chat. And Marcia and Christy, is this the line that we're staying on for Iron County?
It is, but if we want to end this one and then hop back on.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great week.